Need an assist on finding a new vehicle? Head to Bob Moore Ford because we're dishing out deals on our entire inventory, like the 2013 F-150 or F-250. Pick yours, then roll out. Visit BobMooreFordOKC.com for a chance to win our monthly prize.
Durant, pull-up jumper, off the rim, and and the Thunder win! All right, come on, let's sing the Thunder song. All right. When you hear the sound of thunder, don't you get too scared. Just grab your Thunder buddy and say these magic words.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of a Thunder Buddies podcast. I guess we can call it an emergency edition of the Thunder Buddies podcast.
That's exactly what it is.
It's a kind of a breaking news. What is it? Tuesday today. Darnell Mayberry of the Oklahoman broke the news. 6 weeks for Kendrick Perkins.
Up to 6 weeks.
I mean, it's what I had heard from Thunder people was it sounded like a significant groin strain. It was a strain, but significant, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it looked that way as soon as he did it. He was hobbling. He couldn't even play defense. I forgot who made a shot on the other end, but he tried to close out and couldn't even do it. So they had to get him out of the game, and I think they're going to handle it the right way, though, and give him as much time as possible, which is the way to do it because you need him for the playoffs.
Yeah, this sounds like one of their long timetables where it's like a really back end. They'll say 6 weeks. Maybe it'll be 4. He's not necessarily the healer that Russell Westbrook is.
That's true.
Probably.
That's a good point. That's actually a very good point.
But, I mean, it's going to be interesting in the interim what they do. In his place. Obviously, unless something's changed because it's long term, you assume Steven Adams will remain the starting center.
Yeah.
Means he'll get at least probably 16 minutes a night. There's a lot of nights he may only get around 16, like he did against the Clippers.
Now, how big of a deal is this?
Okay.
I mean, just let's say I added it up. 6 weeks puts him at April 8th, April 9th. That's 19, 20 games.
Yeah.
They got a back-to-back, Sacramento and the Clippers, the 8th and the 9th. So if he comes back on the 9th, he'll miss 20 games. How big of a deal is not having Kendrick Perkins for 20 games in the regular season?
What it does, I mean, I don't think it's, like, monstrous. I mean, honestly, like, let's say we had two alternate universes and they played these 20 games with a completely healthy Kendrick Perkins and they played these 20 games without a completely healthy Kendrick Perkins. I mean, the swing on that either way, and I'm not even saying which way it swings, but it's it's probably not more than one game.
Yeah.
Either way, I mean, their record's not going to suddenly take a drastic hit. I mean, they are 3-5 without him the last 3 years and 0-3 this year, but that was more a matter of, I mean, they played the Clippers and Warriors on the road. They had a buzzer beater on them, that Iguodala buzzer beater, and then they got smoked by the Clippers the other night. I'm not sure Perkins would have mattered much the way they were playing defense.
So no concern on your part about them losing ground in the standings, losing the top seed?
Because I think they're pretty comfortable in that top seed. I mean, the Spurs have so many people out. I know they find ways to win. But, I mean, good teams find ways to win without people out. And, I mean, Perkins, you know what? You just lose an option. And there are some good centers they play in the next few weeks. But you just lose an option of there's a guy on the other team who's scoring in the low post, and we need somebody to defend him. You lose a little bit of your versatility.
You got Memphis coming up.
Yeah. No, you got Memphis. You got Bobcats with Al Jefferson.
Al Jefferson's playing his butt off this year, too.
Yeah. But, I mean, Al Jefferson gets his. Like, this Thunder team should be able to beat the Bobcats, even if Al Jefferson drops 30.
But I'm not sure they can beat the Grizzlies if Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol go off for 2025.
It's true, but I mean, like, I don't know. Look, the Thunder play the Grizzlies on Friday. They're going to be favored by Vegas in that game, and that's usually like a good identifier of an unbiased like who should win this game type deal.
Yep.
They're going to be favored. If they played a series without Kendrick Perkins against the Grizzlies, they'd be favored.
Okay.
I mean, adversity happens. Look at the Spurs right now with all their guys out. I mean,
yeah, the Thunder doesn't seem to I can't say that. They were 22-8 without Russ. So I guess they handled it pretty well. It doesn't seem like they handled it as well as the Spurs, though. But 22-8 without Russ speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Maybe the playoffs is still in my mind when Westbrook went down. What do you think Steven Adams is going to give them?
You know what's weird with Adams, and I think I'll probably write a little bit about it tomorrow on the roundtable or something, but remember early in the year when he had 17 and 10 against Detroit? He was like offensively giving them a boost. Like when he came in, it was like, okay, this guy's like offensively giving something they are not getting.
Yeah.
Where's
that been?
He hasn't made a shot in like 7 games. Like he has not made a shot in 7 games.
How much of that do you think is he's focused so much on defense?
I think that's exactly what it is.
His offense is just kind of.
He doesn't even think about it. He's like no longer aggressive when it's like, man, that was like the biggest boost he gave the Thunder. Was remember those like
That's why you wanted him in there.
Yeah, remember in Portland when they were throwing I think Reggie Jackson like overshot. I don't know if it was an alley-oop, but it was like a full court pass, and he made that crazy like catch finish.
Yep.
Like where's that been? I haven't remember him even like attempting a shot much in a while.
Also, I wonder how much of it is the coaching staff. Just saying, because for years they just told Serge Ibaka.
I know they say it to him.
For years they just told Serge Ibaka, rebound, run the floor, block shots. That's all we want you to do. And all of a sudden they figured out, okay, this guy can be a pretty good shooter for us. So maybe they're telling Steven, just rebound, block shots, and run the floor.
Well, and I think that's exactly what they're telling him, because every time the coaches talk to us about Adams or he talks to us, it's always defense. And it's like, you're decent on offense. Like, you can give them a boost on offense.
I think this team is so comfortable with having 2 of the top 5 offensive players in the league, top 7, whatever, and Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant, that they don't feel like they need a source of offense from anyone else.
Agree, but remember at the beginning of the year when he was playing kind of free-flowing, he was giving them a factor that they didn't have, which was inside scoring. He was, rebound putbacks.
But how many times have you heard this team say offense will take care of itself? Right, so that's.
I know what they say. I'm just saying what I think.
That's what they say, and maybe that's what they believe.
I think
they
don't
need another source of offense.
That's what they tell Adams. But I just think that's where he's pretty good on defense, and obviously defense is what matters at the center position. But I think he's pretty good on offense.
Is there a chance that Thunder fans are finally going to get what they wanted and be happy with it? Or is it a better chance that they're going to say, hey, Steven Adams is not ready. We need Kendrick Perkins?
I don't know. I think that obviously just depends on how the next few months go. I think what's going to happen is their Thunder are going to win a lot of games that they would have won with Perkins and they would have won without him. And some fans who are just adamant about Perkins needing to be gone are going to use it as like, see, we're fine without him. When it's like you probably would have been fine with them. Like I said, I don't think this sways a lot during the regular season. Could sway something in the playoffs. I mean, if you face like the Rockets and then suddenly Dwight Howard's going off and Adams is getting 6 fouls in 5 minutes and you got to play Hasheem Thabeet. Or, by the way, you think he's going to get any minutes?
Doubtful.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
He's played like 7 or 8 games this season.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, he can't get off the bench. No. I'm surprised they didn't trade him, frankly.
Yeah, well, maybe this is why. They might have to. Against a team like the Rockets, he's 6 fouls.
Yep.
He's what he is.
Yep. I got a quote from Scott Brooks that I'm going to share with you. Tell me how you feel about this. Steven's going to get opportunities, Brooks said, and he's developed at a pace that we're very happy with. He's going to get more opportunities now. There's going to be games where we can go with smaller lineups, games we can go with different guys in that center spot. But I think he's done well in the minutes that he's had, and it's going to be another opportunity for growth in his development. What do you take from that quote?
It's a very Scott Brooks quote, for sure.
But there's something hidden in there.
About the small?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a small ball. I think they're going to – like I said, he's probably going to be on that Kendrick Perkins plan, which was, play 7-8 minutes to start the half, don't come back the rest of the half. Play 7-8 minutes to start the second half, and don't come back the rest of the half, unless we're facing the Grizzlies or the Rockets.
It's kind of what he did against the Clippers on Sunday.
What he did. It is exactly what he did against the Clippers. And I like their small ball lineups at times. Look, Kevin Durant's getting more comfortable playing the 4. He's playing more minutes at the 4. Serge Ibaka shifts to the 5. You can play Jeremy Lamb more minutes then. You can play lights out Ray Allen. Derek Fisher.
Yep. 50% shooting in his last 16 games from 3-point range.
Yeah.
Not bad.
And he's worse from 2-point range. He shouldn't even step inside the 3-point line.
He's not stepping over the line this year. He doesn't have a toe on the line this year like he did the last 2 years.
No, he's about 5 feet behind the line.
He's chucking. And when he gets it, it doesn't matter where he is on the court. It's going up.
And the shot just looks like a chuck. It's one step and a slingshot. With
I
that
love
left
looking
hand.
at Brooks's reaction whenever, because
He
moments
loves it.
before Fish will take, or Reggie Jackson will take a terrible shot. Moments after Reggie Jackson will take a terrible shot.
Even if he makes
Fish
it
will take one, and Brooks flips out when Reggie takes it, but then Fish takes it, and he kind of just
He's fist
waits.
pumping.
He kind of waits to see what happens, and then it goes in. He's like, "Good shot, good shot."
Derek Fisher could not do anything that could get Scott Brooks mad, right?
I don't think
Besides
so.
retire.
That's true. Yeah,
He's going to be in tears.
Fish might be a coach for this team next year.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard him say he doesn't want to be a coach.
That's what he says.
But
Once you start missing a game,
he's playing really well right now.
he is. You got to give it up to Derek Fisher.
Well, anyways, back to small ball, though. But, I mean,
He's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Derek Fisher.
There's no doubt. They've been doing 3-point guard lineups.
But they also got to figure out the rotation in that small ball lineup because last game against the Clippers, they had Reggie Jackson in there. Tabo, it doesn't matter if it was Tabo or Lamb. One of those two should have been in there for Reggie. I mean, I think we can all agree. Tabo maybe for defense on Crawford or Collison or Paul or Matt Barnes, and Lamb maybe for his shooting. But he had Reggie in there. So I think they've still got some things to figure out with that small ball lineup, especially with Russell Westbrook coming back, not really being himself just yet.
No doubt about it. I mean, and there's other guys that are involved here that you don't necessarily think of small ball, but like Nick Collison should probably get some more minutes.
Your boy, Perry Jones.
Perry
the third.
Jones, definitely.
Why didn't he play Sunday?
I don't know. 1 minute seemed like a game he'd fit, too.
31 seconds, not even a full minute.
There you go. Seemed like a game he'd fit, too. I don't know. That was kind of
They
interesting.
needed somebody on Matt Barnes.
Yeah, they did. Matt Barnes.
24 points.
How about that hair?
And those tattoos and the folded up shorts.
He's great.
Yeah.
Hey, how about Jamal Crawford?
Okay, here we go. We've reached the Jamal Crawford time for Darnell to eat crow segment of the program.
Yeah, how'd you enjoy that show he put on?
He put on a show.
By the way, did you see that 3? I vined it last night.
No, I didn't see the 3. What 3?
Well, he had like 7 threes in New Orleans last night. Check this one out.
Let's
and
see.
For the just check out what he does. For the people who obviously can't see it, he shot it and then just completely turns around, does not look at it as it's swishing in. He's looking at the crowd.
That's when you're feeling it.
Yeah.
That's something you would do out there on old Pupco courts.
Yeah, that's something I usually do after my 6-3 out there.
How long does it take you to get? How many games does it take you to get 6 threes?
Usually 2 because I mean we played it like these quick games to 10, so I hit 5 in the first game, and it's usually to start the second game. I hit my.
Who is this against? The Pelicans? The Pellies?
Yep, he had like 7 threes last night. He's hot right now.
Yeah. You know what this Thunder team needs?
Hold on, quickly before we move on to Thunder
something more about Jamal Crawford.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Early in the year, you said, "Well, they're not the Clippers." Your reason for why the Clippers couldn't, weren't a threat was Chris Paul is the only one that can make. He's the only playmaker. He's the only one that can get his own shot
and shots for his teammates. Blake Griffin. I mean, he's a guy you can just dump it off to. He's stepping up,
and he's a good passer. He's
stepping up,
and he's throwing alley oops a lot.
Yep.
Him and DeAndre Jordan. He's a good passer. And then Jamal Crawford. Well, when Chris Paul was out, he actually had some nice assist games. He doesn't really need to have that many assists because Chris Paul has almost every damn assist. Jamal Crawford. I mean, he can get his own shot. I think he's the definition of a guy who can get his
what's
own
your point?
Shot. Are they now suddenly a threat with 3 guys at least that look like
they're still in jeopardy of being a first-round exit? If they get the Warriors in the first round and a 3-6,
isn't everyone except for maybe the Thunder like in jeopardy of that in the West?
You could say that, but the Clippers, if they get the Warriors in a 3-6, I might take the Warriors in that series.
You might be wrong.
I might be wrong, but you never know.
It's interesting.
The Warriors could beat them. I still don't think they're a great playoff team. They don't play enough defense. And Chris Paul, if you take him off, he's the head of the snake. You cut off the head of the snake, you can beat that team.
They were very good this year without Chris Paul, just like the Thunder
They played a bunch of bad teams. Now, I don't want to take anything away from them, but you have to point that out.
All right. Well, let's move on to the Thunder because we got about 5-6 more minutes before we got to get out of here and go talk to them after practice about Perkins being out.
Sure, that'll be riveting.
You were about to say something?
Yeah. Jeremy Lamb and Reggie Jackson got to get it going.
Yeah.
I mean,
Reggie Jackson in particular.
Jeremy Lamb ain't far behind, but Reggie, yeah. I mean, going back into that second unit, those guys haven't been as productive as they were early in the season.
No doubt.
Reggie said something to Sekou Smith of NBA.com in the Hangtime blog over the weekend in New Orleans. He said that playing this many minutes is new to him, and he didn't really realize how long the season was before he stepped into this new role. Reggie might be going through a strange rookie wall in his third season.
And it's certainly affecting his defense, it looks like.
Well, his defense has never been good this year, so it's not like it started off great and then
it wasn't. I didn't think
it was never good.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I mean, they have been struggling. Their best bench player lately has been Derek Fisher. There's no doubt about it.
Derek Fisher, yep. And I still wonder why Nick Collison doesn't play more than 16 minutes a game.
He was really good against the Clippers.
That two-man game with Collison and Durant,
yeah.
Oh, my God, it's a thing of beauty.
He finishes.
Yep. Nick Collison's been dunking lately.
Yeah, he has been. Those like where he floats through the lane.
You gotta love Nick Collison.
And he's been D'ing up.
Yep.
You know, it's interesting. All right. We probably got to get out of here, huh?
What else? Anything else? This was sort of an emergency podcast.
It's an emergency quick podcast.
No Twitter questions. I know you're sad.
R.I.P. For this 4-game home stretch coming up. I mean, it's a good stretch to have right now. I think while you're obviously reintegrating Westbrook back, and now suddenly have this whole rotation scramble.
Yeah, and you got some pretty average to bad teams coming up.
You got
5 of the next 8: Cleveland, Philly, Charlotte, and the Lakers twice.
That's tasty.
I mean, with or without Perk, with or without Russell being healthy. Or fully, himself.
I mean, this team should win a lot of those games. And at the same time, I think it's going to be a very interesting stretch for Adams because you have Charlotte, like you mentioned, which has Al Jefferson.
Yep.
You have Memphis on Friday with the big front line.
Huge test for Steven.
And then I think right before that second Lakers game is Dwight Howard and the Rockets.
Steven Adams going to get some good time against Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Twice. They play him twice the rest of the season.
While Perk's out?
Probably. I mean, Perk's probably not coming back till at least, maybe like a week or two before the season.
Yep.
ends. So he's he's going to get – and they get Indiana at some point in April, I think. I don't know if Perk will be back by then. But
the schedule is definitely favorable in pretty much the next 8 games. Do you make anything of these last 2?
Not really.
No?
I mean –
what is it? What do you think led to the 2 losses in the fashion that they – I mean, obviously the defense wasn't where it needed to be, but why has this team come out of the All-Star break?
The Miami game, they just didn't play very energized. Durant played as bad as we've seen him this year, and Miami was on top of its game. Hitting threes, and then LeBron James was playing on a level where I'm not sure you're beating Miami if he's at that level. And they're playing the defense Miami was playing in that game.
Right.
So that's loss number 1. Loss number 2, I mean, they just didn't defend, and especially early they didn't defend on the Clippers, and then the Clippers got hot, and you couldn't turn them off.
Yep.
And they were, and that said, they were up, 115, 112 with a couple minutes left.
Yeah, and kind of not choked, but kind of let it off.
Well, Durant missed a couple free throws. Westbrook takes a pull-up 30-footer that he shouldn't have taken.
Bad decisions, bad execution.
And then Jamal Crawford drills 2 straight big shots.
But it's not just those 2 games. Like you, I think Barry Trammell said, this has been sort of a problem going into the All-Star break. They didn't play all that well against the Lakers.
No. They beat the
Blazers. They had that bad loss in Orlando, horrible second half. And it started really this whole month of February. It started with that Wizards loss on February 1st. So they haven't really played very good basketball all of February.
No. But, it's stretches that happen throughout a season.
Don't call it a rut. Don't call it a rut, Durant.
Jeez.
Slater ticked off Kevin Durant after the game the other day, folks. He called it a rut, and Kevin snapped on him.
Well, literally 2 questions before I called it a rut, he said a rough stretch. And then I said something about this rut, and he said, what rut? Don't call it a rut. We're not in a rut, or whatever he said. And I was like,
It's probably the 5th or 6th time that Kevin Durant has snapped on Slater this season. I don't know how he managed to tick off the nicest guy in the NBA, but he's managed to do it on his first year on the job.
Hey,
Round of applause for Anthony Slater.
Hey, you do it with Westbrook. I figured I'd do it with
Westbrook
Durant.
is just a grumpy guy. He didn't like anybody in the media.
Well, I think you're on top of that list of people he doesn't like.
Could be.
Anyway, it's just a rough stretch. If you look at, and Barry did a blog on this, the Thunder against the best teams in the league. I think entering the Miami game, they were 11-3, by far the best in the league.
Right.
Now they're 11-5. That's still probably the best of the teams. Good teams lose to good teams throughout the year. The Thunder just happen to lose 2 in a row to 2 good teams. Okay,
last thing. How long do you think it's going to take Westbrook to get back to himself? And for the team to get back to playing
in the
like
next couple of weeks, he's going to be spotty. I think there's going to be a game where he probably goes 13-20 and has 30-something, and there'll be some bad games. But I think he'll be back to his full, complete self, which, by the way, still will have those 5-16 games when he's fully, few weeks. I think this team will be fine.
You got no concern at all. Everybody out there is panicking. This is like panic mode central with Kendrick Perkins being out, Russell Westbrook getting back. The Thunder lost 2 at home. Largest home loss.
They're 43-14
since 2009. And you're just like, I
was the one who came up. I was the one who found that stat, and I'm not concerned about it.
Oh, I thought it was ESPN. I'm sorry. Credit to Anthony Slater.
Thank you. I credited you on the early.
Nice for someone to credit me around here.
That'll do it. We got to go talk to. Well, I guess we're probably not going to be able to talk to Perkins today, but anyways, this is the Bob Moore Ford Thunder Buddies emergency podcast. We'll talk to you probably next week, maybe later this week.